Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the Primeape in the Evolution Cup. This Pokemon is actually really cool in the current meta, and I'm gonna show you why. I actually went immediately 5-0 with this team. We're going to have the Dusclops in the lead, one of the bulkiest Pokemon for this meta, of course, not as bulky as something like a Chansey, which we maybe gonna take a look at eventually as well. We don't know yet, but it is one of the bulkiest Pokemon, so it gives you a little bit of bulk. We're going to have the Saysop of the Vigoroth, which is of course going to be kind of common in general, but in the back as a sweeper we're going to have our Primeape, and Primeape with energy, with a shield advantage, basically beats every single Pokemon in the meta. It's absolutely wild on how strong this Pokemon is. Actually kind of want to see now on the side what the 1-0 shield scenario is for this Pokemon in this meta, because Primeape has access to Ice Punch, giving you basically a coverage move for the Dragon-type Pokemon. Has access to a Night Slash, giving you access to a coverage move for the Ghost-type Pokemon. I can't even talk anymore. But yeah, basically, you're going to have coverage for everything. Even against something like a Vigoroth, you're going to have counter, which is amazing. So, this Pokemon has so much potential right now, and it's honestly like such a fun Pokemon to use as well, because you're going to have like a very fast battle with this Pokemon, which is really cool because you're pretty squishy, but you're still going to be able to do a ton of stuff here. First game, we're going to be able to hit this Ice Punch with my Dusclops, and this is going to be it for the first one. Moving on to the next opponent, let's see what they're going to run here. The opponent is going to have the Haunter in the lead, which is actually one of the worst possible Pokemon to encounter. You're actually going to lose against 4 different Pokemon in the 1-0 shield scenario with a Primeape, which is going to be Goldbat, NiRiain, and the Togetic, and Goldbat twice because you have also the Shadow variant. But any other Pokemon, if you have one shield advantage, you know you're already going to win with this Pokemon in the back, which is just absolutely wild. So basically, let's move on here to the Haunter. Haunter's gonna go for a charge move here against my Vigoroth, go for the double resisted move of the Shadow Punch, as the opponent is gonna swap into their own Primeape. Primeape is not some spicy Pokemon, it is pretty meta. Actually was thinking about going for Cross Chop over Night Slash before, but I looked at the calculations and actually you don't even beat the Vigoroth in the 0 shield scenario with Cross Chop before they can go for a charge move, and this was basically the only play that I really saw for this move. So I would actually really recommend you to rather go for the coverage here of Night Slash plus the Ice Punch on this Pokemon. It's gonna give you a little bit better play against a lot of other Pokemon here. As you're gonna see, we're gonna be able to knock out the opponent's Dragonaire, and we can just go for another Ice Punch, and with this our Dusclops will be able to just get the knockout. So let's move on into the next one. Next opponent coming in, we're going to have here the Dragonaire in the lead. Again, going to be a fairly decent one for Dusclops. What I usually do as Dusclops here, not because the opponent was stuck a little bit in the animation, I just gonna go for more and more fast moves and not go straight for my Ice Punch, because basically you're going to reach your first Ice Punch at the exact same time as the opponent reaches their own Awkward Tail. So if they are a little bit like, I don't know, not really patient and go straight for the Awkward Tail, you're going to get in a free fast move, which is really nice because you have a 3-turn fast move, unlike the opponent who has a 1-turn fast move. Here we were able to get a shield advantage plus switch advantage plus rock slide most likely against the opponent's Haunter afterwards, which is going to just make this matchup so much easier for us. Sure, went for the move like 1 turn faster, I think I would have been able to get their 1 fast move faster, but it doesn't really matter anyway because the opponent is going to let this move go through. It does not knock them out, but I can now go up against the opponent's Vigoroth. I get them insanely low as well, which is going to be amazing, as I decide to swap into my Primeape. Primeape should be able to farm down before they can go for 2 charge moves. First one's coming through here, I can still go for the full farm. No, never mind, because yeah, we still are in the meta right now where the bug is happening. If you haven't seen the video towards the bug, I would have been able to farm down here without basically, currently there's a bug around where you are not able to get the fast move damage in if you sneak a move through, which is really annoying, and it was still happening during this time. I have to say, throughout my last 5 battles that I did now, which are not in this video and are for like a different video, I did not have this bug anymore, so like the damage was coming through. I saw some other reports though on Twitter again where they were saying that it's not the case for them yet, so I'm not too sure what is actually currently happening still, but like at least for me, the last few battles I was actually able to get the damage through, but it definitely changes quite a lot of matchups. If you don't know what I'm talking about, still check out the video from earlier. It's just a 3-minute video where I explained the issue, And yeah, basically damage is not coming through from sneaked moves, which is a little bit annoying. But here we're going to see the opponent having the Dragonaire, but also the Vigoroth. And what we can actually see here as well is another potential that the Primeape actually has in the current meta. Primeape is just doing so much damage with a fast move that if you're gonna get the opponent to a situation where they have like 2 shields, but they have a squishy Pokemon in the back, you might not even want to ever go for another charge move, because the opponent is so low. We see the counter damage coming in, it is just chunking here. I still decided to go for the Night Slash because of the boost chance to make it a little bit clearer as well. But like, you don't really have to go for that. But I can easily now win this game by farming them all the way down. And so this is going to be it for this one. They cannot go for another charge move after this. And I can just sneak in those fast moves as well, which don't do damage still in this point. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. Next opponent, we're going to have a pretty neutral lead, but I kind of still want to swap out because we have an ABB style line. We have 2 counter users in the back, and so we kind of want to swap out here as the opponent swaps into their own shadow variant of Dusclops, which is actually a matchup because they don't have the fast move of, I forgot the fast move actually, it's like some dark type feint attack. You're going to be able to usually win this matchup as a Vigoroth because you still do more damage basically through counter plus through the rock side, which is amazing. We gotta get a shield here. We can even take another Ice Punch, but I might not even want to take the lead because I feel like it might be even better for me to just still use a shield here, but get the 1-0 shield scenario, which I talked about a little bit earlier already, where Primeape basically wins against anything other than 4 Pokemon. And this is exactly what I kind of try to get here. I will be able to go at another Rock Slide off, the opponent goes for their own charge move, and I decided to let this move go through because I feel like as well that I might be able to just farm them down with my Dusclops. And this is exactly what I'm going to try to do here. The opponent goes for a charge move. I think this is just an Ice Punch, no real reason for me to use a shield. And so I can go for the full farm down and I can get up to a Poltergeist. And this is going to be amazing because Poltergeist is an insane nuke move. This thing is going to hit so hard, as you're gonna see here, Needy knocking them out. I can snipe them with a Primeape. They have the Goldbat in the back, which I talked about is one of the Pokemon that actually can win this matchup in the 1-0 shield scenario for us, which we're currently in, but not if we have one fast move advantage, because what this allows us to do is we can go for a Night Slash first, and then we can still reach the Ice Punch on a CMP tie and knock them out, and this is exactly what we're gonna go for, and so we can easily win this game and we can move on to the next one. Next opponent, Marshtomp in the lead. And this is like the cool thing again about the Dusclops. Dusclops was actually a Pokemon that was surprisingly strong for me, like definitely a really good Pokemon to have right now. But as you're gonna see, they're gonna go for the Mud Bomb here, totally fine. But what we can try to go for is we can try to go for the Poltergeist. And this is exactly what's going to hit them, as it's going to one-shot them here. And now we're going to still have our Dusclops with more than half of our health, basically. We're still going to have now the Vigoroth aligned against the opponent's Dragonaire, which is going to be a decent matchup for us at least. And we still have our Primeape in the back, now with a shield advantage as well, which maybe is not going to be the case now anymore because I decided to use a shield here, but it's going to still be in a very prime position to sweep endgame, and so I'm in a really decent spot, especially as they're using a shield now. They can still go for the full farm down, but I can swap back into my Dusclops, soaking up the energy, and again we're going to try to go into this 1-0 shield scenario, and this is going to be amazing for us because the opponent swaps out into an Arctibex, and with this we know already Primeape is literally here to sweep the opponent, but they decide to forfeit anyway. Next opponent, we're going to have a Haunter in the lead. Again, this is like kind of those matchups which I don't really like to face with this team. Interestingly enough, I encountered actually way more Haunter than I expected. I thought that Haunter would be way more rare. A lot of them are just normal Haunters, not Shadow Haunter. I feel like normal Haunter might be a little bit better for this meta as well, because it has a little bit more bulk, which I feel like it kind of needs here. Yes, it still is not bulky at all, as you can see as well by the damage that we do against them, but it is definitely a little bit bulkier, and that's going to help them out quite a bit. Let me actually check. Yeah, Haunter, normal Haunter is rank 12, Shadow Haunter is rank 25, so you kind of most likely rather want to go for the normal Haunter. And I also feel like that Shadow Punch is better than Shadow Ball, even though PvPoke says like different basically there. I feel like Shadow Punch is just as a cheapest move possible, so important for this Pokemon. But here we're going to see the opponent's Primeape going to be in a very decent position for them as well. I can go into my own Primeape. I can try to go for the full farm down, but they can of course still reach another move, which is going to be the Ice Punch, doing a ton of damage. They're going to have the Hakomo in the back, and that's going to be a tough matchup for us, as we can still reach the Ice Punch. This is going to be able to do a ton of damage, but just barely not enough. And I am going to lose this Team P-tie against them, which is something that was clear before already. So the opponent is going to be able to win this one. Good game there, and we can move on to the next one. Next opponent coming up, we're going to have a Charjabug in the lead. This is going to be a Pokemon that is going to be a little bit more tricky to play against. Now it's going to be also a little bit more common most likely, since the bug might be a little bit fixed now. We still don't really know for sure, but we can go for the Poltergeist, which is going to be able to do a ton of damage and connect as well, which is going to be so nice. As we swap out, the opponent reveals their own Primeape in the back. So many Primeapes from the opponent as well, which is kind of mad as well here. But we're gonna see that we can do so much damage, and we can even reach another charge move before they even throw their own. We would lose CMP, but this is so good for us, because now they can go for their charge move. I can let this move go through, and I will be able to farm them all the way down with my Dusclops as well. I let this move go through as well, I think, because, again, like, if you have a shield advantage with your own Primeape, you're in a really good spot, and here I even have the Ice Punch stored still. Let's see what the opponent is trying to do here. They are swapping into the Vigoroth, and so I get some extra damage onto them, which I definitely going to take, because it's going to put them easily into farm down range for me, so I only have to use one shield here, and yeah, the opponent is not going to be able to get to another charge move before I knock them out. They are going to still stay in here, which is a mistake, because now I have 2 Night Slashes stored. I know that I win CMP tie, and so I can just go for 2 of them, and the opponent already knows at this point that this game is over, and so we can move on to the second to last game. Here's a little bit of an awkward one for us. Goldbat is actually way worse than you might expect, and what I maybe would recommend you to go for is maybe just go for an Ice Punch and swap out immediately, because it's always a guessing game in the beginning if they're gonna go for Poison Fang or Shadow Ball. I think you might be able to survive from a normal Goldbat, actually a Shadow Ball in the Zero Shield scenario, but it is like such an awkward matchup. Here we're still gonna get them low, but I kinda want to catch a move next, but the opponent goes straight for their own charge move, so I'm kinda forced to use a shield as well. Shadow Ball is coming through, going to get shielded, but it's not really a great matchup for us at all, because they can basically dictate the lead, which is a little bit annoying. I wish this would be a little bit easier for the Dusclops, but it is what it is. So let's move on here. We're going to be able to still hit at least the Body Slam against the opponent's Charjabug, which is totally fine for me, because I still have to hit a Rock Slide no matter what. Rock Slide is not going to be enough to knock them out from full health, so hitting the Body Slam here is something that I would have needed to do anyway, so we can just go for the Rock Slide now. We're gonna get the knockout against the opponent, which is going to be very good. But let's see what is coming in next. It's going to be the opponent's... Oh, Dragonaire in the back. That's totally okay for me. I can still go for the Body Slam. This is going to be still a very close matchup, though. It could go kind of either way. I'm gonna swap out here, and they're gonna still have the move start on the Goldbat. And this is like the annoying thing here. If you don't swap out in time, basically early on, you're going to end up in a scenario where you're going to have 2 counter users against a Pokemon that is going to double resist counter, which is not ideal. I should have most likely went for the Night Slash. Would have been maybe a play for me to still win this game. Not too sure, but yeah, it is kind of over at this point, so let's move on to the next one. Next opponent. We're going to have the Dragonaire in the lead, and this is honestly, I think this was the game which literally just showcases on how broken Dusclops is in the lead. We're going to be able to take the first move here. It's going to be the Awkward Tail. I can go up, I can go for another Ice Punch against the opponent, which is totally fine. This is going to get half of the opponent's health. I can go for another one. There's no denial or whatever of fast moves anyway, so you can just go straight for it. Going to be able to get another shield. But you know what is even funnier? We're going to be able to even take another charge move from the opponent, go for our own Ice Punch, and with this we're going to have both switch as well as shield advantage, or a double shield advantage. We're going to take basically shield plus switch advantage, which is really nice, because now we can align our Vigoroth against the opponent's Togetic, which is really important, because this Pokemon is going to be very strong against our Primeape in the back. Aerial Ace is coming through, but what we can do now is we can let this next move go through as well. It is going to be the Aerial Ace from them again, and they swap out into the Vigoroth. I was expecting that they have a Vigoroth in the back, and so I was kind of prepared for this one. That's why I didn't go for my own charge move. And so now I can just shield up the opponent's Body Slam, which would do a ton of damage. I can go ahead, go for the Night Slash here, trying to get the boost. I never got a boost, by the way, spoiler alert. But I can still go for the super effective Ice Punch, and this is all that I kind of want to do, because it's going to do so much damage. And with this, I can even try to reach another charge move here, which I'm not going to be able to do, because I can still go for the Aerial Ace. But I have nearly 2 Body Slams stored, and Body Slam should be enough from this range. And so this is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Check out the 2 videos on the screen, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.